MP, regarding what you just mentioned on the screening. I still sense a lot of uncertainty in the comments that you made as to whether or not the swearing in will take place on Thursday. So I would just like to ask, where is all of this uncertainty coming from? What seems to be the issue? Why it may not happen?
You are right, Judy. And the reason why I am so cautious in my statement is because it's totally out of my hands. So I have no influence on that particular date. So that date has been mentioned. I am going by it. But until I really receive an official notification as President of Parliament to attend the swearing in of the new government, it will just be I saying what I've heard in terms of when the new government would be sworn in. But yes, you are correct in sensing some cautiousness in my expression, because I know how these things go as well, and that is also reason why, one little I don't want to say fault, but one, lacking of something, a delay somewhere here or there, could put it off. And again, it's not in my purview to decide when or how. So you are right to observe some kind of cautiousness. I don't think there should be so much secrecy surrounding it, and let's be open with the public. What can be revealed, and definitely when it comes to persons, I don't think that we should enter into that kind of a discussion. But in terms of process and when it will take place, I do believe, however, that we should be as open as we can be. This is about a government taking office. This is not just any other thing that we're waiting for a date to be announced. And the people of St. Martin have waited long enough. There's a lot of uncertainty and inquietude in the whole population, because we don't know. I even more so than the other person may be, but generally it's not known what is happening behind the screens, and that brings all kind of discussions within the public about what could be going on or not going on in this whole screening process. And if we compare it with the Netherlands, for example, where we see, that's just going on and on, but that is on the basis of parties not being able to find each other completely on areas of governance and topics of governance. And that is clearly not the case here. We do have a coalition accord with the main points of the next government. And I want to be able to express as soon as possible the Democratic Party's participation in this and why we are part of the current coalition agreement. I want to talk openly about the priorities for the party and the coalition going forward. I think this is what people are waiting right now to hear. But again, the cautiousness has to do with, yes, I hear it, I hope it, but I can't put my head on a block for it, as the old people would say.
My question is, what would happen? What is legally possible, Prime Minister, if come May 10th and the new government is not yet sworn in, and the four ministers who can no longer hold both positions would, the minister, you both indicated that you will not be here, you will be moving over to Parliament. So what will happen? What is legally possible if May 10th comes and we don't have a new government? There has been some suggestions that the laws need to be clearly defined. I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on this? And the President of Parliament had indicated at a press conference on Monday that she believes that this whole process should be removed from the governor. The whole process meaning the swearing in or appointment of new ministers, and put in the hands of the legislature. Is this something that what is your position on this? And
Several
Prime Minister,
questions.
I know
We will allow Prime Minister to answer these questions.
I don't even think I can remember everything you asked me. Indeed, as I mentioned before, it is a process I've had myself. As formateur, you can insist to put forward persons who may have received negative comments. It is, yes, your purview to put that forward, but we are co-governing with our governor, and he has to ensure to maintain the laws. Sitting here, and as one of the media sitting there as well, understands the weight and the responsibility and the accountability. And it has even heightened over the years with more councils of state coming along, with more checks and balances. And so you do not want to put your government in a position where negativity can be pointed towards it. As you know, sometimes that still happens, but you want to avoid that. So there is a legislation on the integrity of ministers, and that is being adhered to. Persons who sign up to be ministers sign a form to be screened. Anyone, and we have been sitting in Parliament, who has been sitting in Parliament for more than 10 years, and hindsight is 2020. Maybe they should have worked on that over the period of time. This is where we are now. Yes, we wanted to deal with certain things within electoral reform, which is also finalizing a screening law. However, the priorities were the priorities over these past 4 years with the seriousness of what we were facing. We now have time, barring any unforeseen circumstances, for the incoming government to make those changes. But as of now, this is what the legislation is, and this is what we're using. This is what we have used for the past, I believe, 12 years. And so this is why we are sitting here, and that's why we've always campaigned on being able to come in as quickly as possible. As for the press conference of the chair lady, she's part of the coalition. I think she's the most experienced within the coalition, and I believe that she has a large voice, and I believe she should use it in convincing the formateur to put forward the persons who can be sitting within shorts. I do believe they have enough members, and so I don't expect that May 10th will become a problem. But should it come, prior to that, we would then have discussions with the governor, because we do co-govern, and the continuity of government is the priority of any government. And I don't think any incoming government would want to see government stagnated. So I look forward to collaboration and cooperation to ensure that the impasse does not happen come May 10th.
Yes, I just had a comment to make in regarding because we have a lot of, let's say, frustration or even uncertainty in the public regarding the whole process of the swearing in. And all of us here already went through this process. Even Mr. Lee also went through the same process that the current coalition is also experiencing. So this isn't a new process, and it's even more, let's say, not concerning. It's even a little more hilarious. The ones that are making the loudest noise, for example, in terms of the process being unfair, they've also been through this process already, especially one of the new leaders of the coalition, right? So this isn't something new to him or them, right? And even so, for example, we are elected to parliament, right? That's our right? We're appointed as a minister. That's an opportunity, right? You're not entitled to be a minister. You get an opportunity to be a minister. Right, and that's the difference. And if there are certain things that would tarnish the reputation of the Council of Ministers, those things have to be taken into consideration in terms of integrity. For example, if I can't imagine, for example, me being Minister of me having an opportunity to be Minister of Finance, for example, then I have 10 years backlog of taxes, or I've never filed taxes for 10 years, right? How do I then hold others accountable? But then I'm putting myself in that position. So, and I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying these are parts of the whole process of swearing in. These are parts of the integrity of going to be a minister. Last week I had an opportunity to meet and speak with a finance minister of Barbados, and he actually told me, he said, "Oh, you guys do it different. You guys do it after the fact. We do this to get on the list to run." So before you go on the list, they check already with your taxes and all the different things. So they do a pre-check before you get on the list to even run. So we are. He said, "Oh, you guys do it differently, right?" On top of that, this again, we had a meeting, a press conference about the chair the other day, and the chair has been part of the most governments in the history of country St. Martin, right, for the last 14 years. So this again, and the complaints didn't start now. The complaints started since 2010. Matter of fact, at every election result, in the swearing-in process, there's always been at least one person or one individual that had some issues with screening, right? So the opportunity was always there for every government to fix it. So the ones, especially for the ones that are complaining, they had the opportunity to fix it, right? We're the only one without a screening law. So for the last 4 years, members of parliament had the opportunity to fix this, and 14 years ago. Curacao has a screening law, Aruba has a screening law. One of them has one, for example, where it says you can't have a criminal record for 5 years, one has one for 10 years. So we have to establish now, what do we want? We don't want a screening law, so we allow anybody to be a minister, or do we want to put some accountability parameters in there? And the fact of the matter is, we didn't do it, so now it is the process that we have now. And you signed the document to be screened. No one is forcing anyone to sign any document to be screened. You voluntarily signed this document, so now you have to live with the results.
When you were promoting the whole issue of the QR codes, that certain mechanisms would have been put in place. So, for example, the police would have had scanners where they would have been able to scan the codes from a distance. Cameras would have been outfitted with special technology to be able to detect certain things in the QR codes and so forth. So I'd like to know, are these technologies now in place? I see quite a number of vehicles driving around with no QR code on their windshield. And, you know, with the fact that we don't have plates now, it's not so easy to identify it. So does the police have the scanners where they can scan it, and are the cameras equipped with the technology?
The technology is there, so we already have the application for the apps for the the police officers. Regarding what I said for the cameras, was the technology already exists in the camera. So the cameras are able to do this already. So I don't know, I'm not sure they finalized the process already, but the cameras that we have are capable of doing that already. And regarding the QR codes, I know when I checked a couple of weeks ago, for sure in March, we were so in the same period last year, we were about $1 million more. So in terms of income, we were doing better than last year. So if after, I mean, you said you don't see a lot of QR codes there, but I could say for sure that 2023 March versus 2024 March, we were at least $1 million more than last year. So of course we could always do better. And I think once enforcement kicks in, it's always the case. Over the last, with everything in government, I would say, you see an increase in the revenue. Yeah, so the scanners so it's not scanners. So it's an app on the phone. So we developed an app. So the scanners on the phone is an app. So then that app could scan. So it's not a separate like device. It's a device specifically only for the police officers, with an app that only they can, let's say, log into.
For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a blend for all of you. SXM, your social and health insurance. SXM, your social and health insurances.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SZV, yeah. Your social health insurances.
Today or this morning, Batch 4 of the Personnel National Decrees will be signed in the presence of the respective recipient employees. This milestone signifies the signing of nearly 100 LBAs by His Excellency the Governor and my person as Minister of Justice. Currently, Batch 5 is consisting of another 25 national decrees and is under review and being processed at the Cabinet of His Excellency. This is still within the ongoing first phase of the national decrees, requiring a significant effort to maintain. We are, seeking to maintain consistency with putting these LBAs at their current state, having them signed and issued. Despite recent delays, such as the budget handling, we've had some illnesses in between. We continue to ask for the cooperation of the staff and those who are looking forward to receiving their LBAs. As I said, the staff is small, but we are doing our best to be able to keep the consistency and ensure that everyone is able to get their national decrees in their hands as soon as possible.
Dr. Komona, through you, Madam Chair, does the university provide some kind of support for the students, such as counseling, tutoring, or career guidance? That's one of my questions. And the second question would be, can you provide an insight into areas where the university is actively working to improve?
Honorable MP LaCruz, for your kind words. I would just like to say, in response to your, in response to Honorable Margaret's answer, I'd like to just mention just a few areas and where we've seen USM serve not only the people of St. Martin, and the knowledge centers of St. Martin, but of other islands in the region. And that we've seen through our research projects, 3 of which have come to fruition during my tenure. One being Islanders at the Helm, and the other one from Zone MV, the Medical and the Biomedical and Health Research Council of the Netherlands, that we've done together with Aruba and Curaçao. We are the institution that established CHEC. CHEC is the Caribbean Higher Education Council of the Kingdom of the Netherlands that is now recognized by the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science, and all the other ministries of culture and science and education in our region. We have CARP, which is the Caribbean Research Platform, which will be established this year. We have grown in terms of our academic offerings, most considerably the social work program. And of course, we've extended our Bachelor of Arts in Education to our sister islands of Saba and Statia. And 2 years ago, we signed an MOU with the government whereby the government committed to supporting students in the Bachelor of Arts of Education and what they call the professionalisering. So we're definitely growing. We're making strides in the Caribbean, not just as any simple institution of higher education, but as a leader in cutting-edge research. In terms of support, answering Honourable MP Margaret's questions, in terms of support for students, yes, indeed, we have a full-time counselor at the University of St. Martin who concentrates most of her efforts on students. Within this legislative piece, you will see that a counselor is needed, but not only a counselor, there are other services that need to be provided to students, and students also take a special place in this legislative piece that so urgently needs to be passed. One of them is representation at management meetings, but also at the board, so that we will have actually students being represented in the board in order to make this more democratic and inclusive space of learning and scientific production. Yes, we have tutoring. We have tutoring that is carried out by alumni, also by our own students. And we're very happy, of course, to announce that we have the academic foundation year that is being supported by the Ministries of Education of the 4 countries comprising the Kingdom. And here at USM, that academic foundation year is scheduled to begin in August. And that academic foundation year, just like you have it in Curaçao as well as in Aruba, will prepare students who are not yet ready to make a decision in terms of their career, but allowing them also to take courses at the university during that preparation year, courses that will allot them credits that are transferable to other universities. And we're going to be doing that for country St. Martin, and we're going to be doing that as well for the English-speaking part of the Caribbean Netherlands, that being Saba and Statia. Then we also have what is called, together with the Netherlands and Curaçao and Aruba, SEA, that is the Strategic Education Alliance, which was established 2 years ago, where we will be offering this academic foundation year, but also Kingdom Mobility. So this is a kind of Erasmus Plus for the Kingdom, whereby our students will be allowed to spend a semester abroad, not necessarily the Netherlands. It could be the Netherlands, but it could also be Curaçao and Aruba. And we will also be able to receive students from the Netherlands and from the other 5 islands comprising the Caribbean part of the Kingdom.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances. For all of life's twists, turns, and defining moments, RBC is a blend for all of you.
There's a lot of conversation recently about the acquisition of land at Draxhall, 50 acres to be precise, for the purpose of low-income and lower-middle-income housing by the Minister of Housing. I understand the concerns of many Barbadians who may feel that they have been robbed of the opportunity of having an appropriate settlement for the reparations that ought to be made as a result of the blood, sweat and tears of Barbadians over centuries. I want to make it clear that this is not a matter that we take lightly. Indeed, the Tenantries Freehold Purchase Act was enacted and dealt with by successive governments, because we recognize the need for the government of Barbados, whoever that government is, to be able to make reparations for people whose ancestors were forced to live in some of the harshest conditions and were deprived of all opportunities to be able to make the best for themselves and their families. So we get the concept of reparations both domestically, but also, as we have been doing, internationally. The reality is that we have been at the forefront of making the call for reparations against those who contributed to the decimation of this country and the lives of people, while at the same time enriching themselves and building out the Industrial Revolution, and that which has now become the climate crisis caused by the greenhouse gas emissions coming from the Industrial Revolution. So we get it. But at the same time, I need to remind us, Barbados is a country that is governed by the rule of law. We have never made it a habit, or nor am I aware of any example where we have expropriated people's land. When people have land that is a subject of compulsory acquisition, by law we are due to pay for it. At the same time, that does not preclude us from going aggressively to be able to pursue, both through our advocacy and, as we are seeking to do in recent times, through the preparation of what are our legal options with respect to being able to take action not only against the owners of Drax Plantation, but also against all others who have contributed to the condition of this country being, regrettably, one of the worst examples of modern racism in the Americas. We believe that there is a justifiable case for us to continue to mount. We in fact met with Mr. Drax some time ago. I am not happy with the pace at which these discussions have continued, but believe you me, we will, as we are required to do, pause and to listen to Bajans to understand what is really at stake here, recognizing that we do not cut off our nose to spite our face. And what do I mean by that? That we should not deny ordinary Barbadians who are in need of housing the opportunity to have housing. But at the same time, that we pursue with greater alacrity the issue of reparations with respect to Mr. Drax and with respect to any others with whom there is a case and a chain of custody that we can justify. The Drax Hall is one of those few ones that we can actually trace the chain of custody back to the 17th century. And to that extent, the government has expressed itself as wanting to be able to find a settlement that would be just for the people of St. George and the people of Barbados.